Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting that thumbs up button for me and dropping your comments. Want to hear anything Knicks or anything NBA from you? I love reading the comments, and definitely join the Knicks-Verse. Subscribe. We're dangerously close to 11,000 subscribers, so it'd be great we cross that line very soon. Even before the beginning of the season. That would be fabulous. All right, well, had to jump on today. Something happened. The NBA dropped their annual survey of general managers, and they did not show much love to the New York Knicks. That's right. Who Vegas has them as the fourth highest odds of winning the championship. Some of them have them as high as number 2. So this is really interesting that the general managers don't feel the same way that Vegas feels. So we're going to break it down. It's going to be a shorter video than normal, but let's get into it here because definitely have some thoughts and feelings about all of this. Here we go. Steve Popper, actually, it was his tweet that alerted me to this whole situation. I saw it early this morning. He said the NBA GMs were not big on the Knicks. Second in the East behind Cleveland. Okay. Rare player mentions. Brunson second among leaders. OG tied for 7th ranked versatile defender. That's it. That's pretty much it. There were a couple more acknowledgments, but really the disrespect that the fellow GMs have for what Leon Rose has put together here, that was one of the final 4 teams standing last season, and really had that Pacers series if it weren't for that crazy first game in overtime, and then they were even up in the second game as well. The Knicks could have been up 3-0 in that series, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever. They ended up losing. But at the end of the day, you know, they were right there, one of the top 4 teams. I didn't see Cleveland around there. That's right. Actually, Cleveland lost to the Pacers in 5 games. They only won 1 game off of the Pacers, where the Knicks won 2, and one of them went, and the first one that the Knicks lost went to overtime. So it was a much tighter series. So I don't see, even though because maybe last year the record was better. All right, we'll get into it. I'm already jumped into it all. Here it is. This is how the survey begins. Now, just something to note, general managers were not allowed to vote for their own players or personnel. So that's why sometimes, like, someone who definitely should have gotten at least a single vote did not get any acknowledgement. The first thing that stands out is the Eastern Conference rankings. This, by the way, is totally shocking. Let's go to this bigger, make it bigger here. This is the full voting. Cleveland, 63% of NBA GMs think Cleveland is going to win the East. Going to represent the East in the finals. 63%. Only 30% think the Knicks will be. That is crazy. That's more than a 2-to-1 ratio. That is, I'm actually really stunned by that. I mean, I would have thought, okay, I can see, even if the majority think Cleveland is going to represent them, but I would have thought the split would have been more like 49-44, you know, or actually maybe more like 47-46, like something tight. Here it's a blowout, more than 2-to-1. That is the disrespect I'm talking about. So I kind of like it, though. I kind of like it because I think this is going to inject the Knicks with a little more fire. Not that they need it, you know, but hey, extra fuel. This can Mike Brown at some point during the season, when maybe the Knicks hit a lull, he can pull this up and say, look, you got to prove these guys wrong. So this is going to be interesting. Orlando gets 7% of the vote. I can see the thinking there. Desmond Bane is going to help that team. I just don't think it's going to help as much as people think. They still have outside shooting problems. And then Atlanta got a recognition for 2nd and mostly 4th, but they finished 4th overall. Detroit, actually, I think the GMs are sleeping on Detroit. Honestly, I would have put Detroit, in my opinion, I would put Detroit as number 3rd right here. I would put Knicks 1st, Cleveland 2nd, Detroit 3rd, then Orlando, Atlanta, I think Milwaukee's right with that. I'm surprised Boston even snuck in on this list. But, look at Philadelphia, 10% before. Philly's going to be interesting. If everyone's healthy. Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah. No, I thought I didn't lower my music. If everyone's gets healthy with Philly, who knows? Philly might actually do a little something. I just don't believe in them by playoff time. Even if they get healthy, win some games, they'll probably fall apart by the playoffs. That's my feeling on that. All right. Oh, but one thing else I want to point out here. Sorry. Look at this. So, yeah, they totally disrespect the Knicks, but they're willing to put Brunson on their key art. So they want the clicks from the Knicks, but they're not willing to acknowledge how good the Knicks are or can will be. All right. One thing, too, to note, last year, 97% picked Boston. Who defeated Boston in the playoffs? Oh, wait, yeah, it was the boys in orange and blue. That's right. They took their soul, especially in that first game and coming back from being down 20 points. The order after the Knicks was New York, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Orlando, and then Indiana, who ended up representing the East in the finals. But let's look at the finals predictions here, according to the GMs. Which team will win the 2026 NBA Finals? 80% of them have OKC. That's no surprise there. I'm fine with that. I do think they are the favorites. But tied for second is Cleveland with Nuggets. I mean, Cleveland, really? I know they picked them to represent them, but I mean, you would have thought they'd give them a little more of a nod, especially over the Nuggets if OKC is going to be representing the West. But this is the way they laid it out. Last year, 83% thought the Celtics were going to win. Also receiving votes were the Houston Rockets and the New York Knicks. So the Knicks did get some kind of recognition. They didn't release the total points or whatever, the votes, so I don't know how that is represented. But obviously, let's see, that amounts to 90. So about 6% of the votes. So maybe, I don't know, you would have thought if the Knicks got 3%, they would have put it up there at least. But you can see here, that's the Eastern rankings. Let's keep going. Players who will win the 2025-26 MVP. Nikola Jokic, 67%. I'm fine with that. They have Doncic over SGA, last year's MVP. It is. In MVP voting, historically, players do win in a row. But this year they have Jokic making a big comeback. I agree with this. But when you keep going, they got Wembanyama. Also receiving votes is Giannis, Antetokounmpo, and then Ant-Man from Minnesota, and then Donovan Mitchell. You're kidding me. You're going to put Donovan Mitchell but not put Jalen Brunson? I've already predicted that if everything goes right for the Knicks and they end up going to the finals and then winning it, Brunson will be MVP. Yeah, but I think the MVP voting is before the playoffs, so that'll be interesting. But still, it would have been nice. One little nod to Brunson. You got him in the key art. Okay, who's the best point guard in the NBA? Another diss to our Jalen Brunson. They have SGA, Luka, Steph, and Halliburton, who is not even going to play this year. So I don't think he should have been even a part of this survey. That fourth spot should go to Jalen Brunson. Who's the best shooting guard in the NBA? I didn't think we would have anybody on here, but it's just to recap it here. Ant-Man. So Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, number 2. Luka again appears. This is the interesting thing about this. Luka appears 3 times on this list. So what is he? Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? And then SGA is up here too. Again appearing twice. And Steph. But then, who is the best leader? Finally, our guy, the man, him, finally gets some recognition. Steph Curry gets the number 1 slot with 43% of the votes, and then Jalen Brunson gets 13% of the votes. That I like to see. That I agree with. Finally, the NBA GMs got it right. They got it right. And then look, number 4, Giannis. Giannis right there. And then you got Shea and LeBron, and then getting some extra votes, Connolly, Ant-Man, Tatum, who's not going to play. Actually, I think I heard a rumor he might try to come back. And then Fred VanVleet. A lot of guys who aren't even playing on the survey. And then who is the most versatile player in the NBA? Number one, Giannis Antetokounmpo, tied with Victor Wembanyama. Interesting. No Nick on here. Interesting. I guess I kind of can see this. I think Cade getting some recognition is nice. I think Cade is going to have a tremendous season, which is why I think the Pistons are going to end up being the third team come playoff time. Okay, let's keep going here. And then who is the best small forward? Look, here's Luka's third appearance on this list, and this time he finally gets number one. 40% of the vote. Tatum, 20% of the vote. Durant makes an appearance, 17% right there. LeBron behind with Kawhi. All the old guys sticking around. Also receiving votes is Jaylen Brown from Boston, Jimmy Butler, Golden State, and Jalen Williams of OKC. A major argument could be made that Jalen Williams should be number two on this list, the way he played in that playoffs, the way he played last year for OKC, and he is the reigning champion. So once again, head-scratching voting by the GMs. And then who is the best power forward in the NBA? There is no doubt about that. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo making yet another appearance on these lists. And the only other person to get a vote, Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley. Who is the best center in the NBA? Nikola Jokic set 97%, and then Victor Wembanyama 3%. Now in this case, it would have been nice to have seen a few more votes. It would have been nice to have seen Karl-Anthony Towns get some votes. But in this case, they are clearly the two best centers in the NBA at the moment. So, I don't have an issue with that. Unfortunately, I wish they had asked another question like, who is the best shooting center in the NBA? That would have been interesting. It would have definitely have been Kat and Jokic would have been there. But they didn't ask that question. And why didn't they ask that question? Because they don't want the Knicks to get any love. Which team will be most improved in 2025-26? Orlando Magic, 47%. Which is why they're all high. These GMs are all high on them. That's why they had them third in the East. And then the Hawks right there. And then Spurs. Spurs, I think people are thinking a lot more highly of the Spurs than I do. I don't think, you never know. Wembanyama is just phenomenal if he makes a leap, of course. But the team itself, they've got issues. I'm not a believer in the Aaron Fox Wembanyama team up. But if Stephon Castle makes a leap, then that could definitely happen. The Sixers are fourth here, and then the Pelicans with Zion getting a little bit of acknowledgement, fifth there. Last year was the Grizzlies. It was supposed to be the most improved team. But it was actually, remember, the Detroit Pistons. That's right. What was the most surprising move of the offseason? And I kept this one in here for one. Last year, the most surprising one was the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. 27% said that. This year, 43% of the GMs say the Milwaukee waving, stretching Damian Lillard. And then number two was the Miles Turner to Milwaukee. So two of Milwaukee's moves were the most surprising moves in the offseason, and yet still Giannis wanted to be a Knick over the summer. And that's after these moves. That'll tell you something. That'll tell you something right there. And who's on this list more than anybody? Giannis, actually. He's all over this list. He's even third in most versatile defender in the NBA. And finally, a Knick gets an acknowledgement here. Tied for seventh, OG Anunoby. When you look at this list, it's kind of hard to argue with it. But Draymond Green, he's not at the level of defending that he used to be. That's for sure. And actually, I think OG is a better defender than Draymond. But the question is versatile. So that's the way they phrase this. Ahmed Thompson, number one. Can't argue with that. And then you got Giannis Antetokounmpo is third. Again, making another appearance on this list. Dyson Daniels, fourth, tied with Mobley. and Victor, and then OG tied with Lou Dort. Interesting roundup there. And then also receiving votes is Tumani Kamara and Tari Eason of Houston. Well, I really like him. I would love him on the Knicks as well. Alsar Thompson from Detroit. And last year, the number one was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo is all over this list. And he wants to come to the Knicks. I think he knows a little more than the GMs. And he wants to come because he knows he can win a championship here. So that right there should tell you everything you need to know about how good the Knicks can be this upcoming year. I skipped the top part. Who is the best interior defender in the NBA? Victor Wembanyama, 80%. Absolutely, he's a transcendent defensive force. Rudy Gobert, right there, number 10. Also receiving votes, Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley, and Zubac from the Clippers. Nice. Which head coach runs the best offense? Number one, clearly, Rick Carlisle from Indiana, 53%. And two tied for second, Kenny Atkinson, Chris Finch of Minnesota, and then Dagonaut, OKC, and Steve Kerr, number 4. And Steve Kerr's former assistant coach, Mike Brown, the new coach of the New York Knicks, also receives a vote for who runs the best offense. Well, this is going to be very surprising for people this year. If things turn out the way they already have been teased at us, the way these guys are beginning to click, and it's only been 2 games. You'll be. I think this New York Knicks offense could be one of the most historically potent offenses that we have seen in many, many years, and that is saying something because we've seen some tremendous offense as of late. Tyronn Lue gets some respect there. Quinn Snyder also, and of course the man Eric Spoelstra, who will become the Team USA coach. He'll take over for Steve Kerr. It's been announced. Which head coach has the best defensive schemes? No Brown appearance here. Mark Daigneault, number 1. Ime Udoka from Houston, and then Spoelstra, Tyronn Lue, Mazzulla. Also receiving votes, J.B. Bickerstaff from Detroit, and then Chris Finch of Minnesota. So, here we go. Finally, one last acknowledgement. I thought that was it. I forgot the Knicks assistants got some acknowledgement as who is the best assistant coach in the NBA. Mika Nori got number 1, who, remember, the Knicks wanted to hire, and the Timberwolves wouldn't let them have an interview even. Our old guy, Jeff Van Gundy, got second place. Royal Ivy of Houston, 11%. And tied for 4th, the Sam Cassell, who I think should be an NBA head coach somewhere. It's a crime that he's not. And Chris Quinn of Miami, tied for 4th. Also receiving votes, James Borrego, New Orleans, who Knicks interviewed. And Darren Erman of the New York Knicks. And also Chris Gent of the New York Knicks. There's a host of others here, but that'll tell you at least some love and respect is being given to Knicks assistants. Last year, it was tied between Sam Cassell and Micah Nori, tied for that top spot there. This guy. So this, Giannis declared his commitment in a very lukewarm way to the Bucks. He said, he's committed to the team, but, in 6 or 7 months, I'm human. I could change my mind. So basically, I think the Bucks have until the end of December to prove to Giannis whether he wants to stay there or not. And possibly they may try to move him before the trade deadline. So keep an eye on that. At the moment, there are no discussions between the Knicks and the Bucks, and that is fine. It should be like that. The Knicks should focus on what they have, the plan ahead, because if by December 21st, the Knicks are clearly in first place, and the offense is flowing, and Mike Brown's got the defense cooking, then Knicks should just stay put and wait to see what happens in the summer, and wait to celebrate with champagne in June. And then look at the situation with Giannis. That and that's the way I think it's going to turn out. That's the way I think it's going to turn out. It's going to be interesting. I mean, because it's so hard to repeat. OKC is clearly the better team, but again, a lot can happen. You never know. A lot can happen. So we'll see how things turn out. That's why this is exciting. This is an exciting time of the year before the season begins. And then, of course, playoffs are super exciting. All right, thanks for watching this. Also, check out the Knicks-Verse store, the merchandise store. The link is down below. There's new merch. It's great. It helps support the channel. Got hats. Got the classic hats, and I got the new New York hat as well. Snapbacks and dad hats. Got new T-shirts and hoodies. Check it out. They're really cool looking, and get them in time for the start of the season. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Thank you for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me, and when you subscribe, turn on a notification bell. And if you've already subscribed, turn on a notification bell. That way you're alerted when I drop a new video like this or go live, which I will start going live again. And I will see you, and drop your comments. All right, the Knicks-Verse. Let's go.